Alright guys, welcome back. So we are looking at a couple of, well, it's one add-on, 1 week aura, so this one's not going to keep you very long, but the week aura deserves a lot of respect. And I know we talk a lot about week auras and add-ons here, and that's because obviously I'm a real believer that these can make your gameplay even better. You know, that's the difference between, if you look at Final Fantasy 14, you look at, I don't know, Elder Scrolls Online, you look at any of these different MMOs. For me, the big difference between WoW and all these other MMOs is third-party sort of add-on support, because it means you can customise how things look, customise how things play. You know, and Weak Aura is obviously a massively powerful tool, which obviously helps you do this. Now, this particular Weak Aura basically will tell you what every single NPC or boss or trash or whatever you want to call it in a dungeon, in a tier 4 raid or in a dungeon or heroic, it tells you what they do before you even pull the mobs, which is amazing. So basically on the tooltip, I'll just put a little preview and then we'll jump in game and have a proper look at it. You know, it will show you what abilities they do, and then if you hold control, it will then expand those abilities and show you in more detail. So, you know, if it says like, I don't know, Hurricane Kick, then that's all it will say, so you know it does that. But then if you hold control, it will tell you how much damage it does, what if there's any other effects, you know, does it snare you, does it root you, does it do anything like that on application. So it's absolutely amazing, and so far from what I've seen, I've only played around with it in a couple of dungeons, don't get me wrong. I mean, some extensive testing of this will tell me a lot more, but I'm not turning it off because I love the look of it straight away, so I'm going to be using it. But it looks good. Everything seems fine. You know, all the mobs are doing what they're meant to do. I was trying it in Orkney Crypts. As you know, I do a lot of soloing in Orkney Crypts. I was in there today testing on all of the mobs as well, and everything's spot on. So a really good week aura. So let's have a look at let's jump in game and let's have a look at exactly what it looks like. All right, firstly, so looking at Lexicon now, if we have a look down at the tooltip at the bottom right, so all I'll do is just stealth through here and show you on a few mobs. So you've got this first one here, so Ethereal Scavenger. So it does a shield bash, a singe, and a strike. So we know now that it does those 3 abilities, but that's not really enough. I mean, you can work out roughly what they're going to do. So shield bash, we can safely say that this mob does an interrupt. I mean, that sort of goes without saying. And then a singe and a strike, but we don't know what those do. So when you've got the mob highlighted, if you hold control, it'll expand that tooltip. And now on that tooltip you can see, so shield bash bashes an enemy with the caster's shield, inflicting physical damage and interrupting a spell being cast for 8 seconds. That's quite a big silence, to be fair. So singe inflicts physical damage to an enemy every 3 seconds, strike at an enemy, increasing melee damage. So it's quite good to know if a mob cleaves, or maybe does, you know, an AoE around it and things like that. Silence is particularly important to know, obviously. But if we just go a little bit further through here, so I'll stealth. So that was the scavengers. So let's go and have a look at a different type of mob. So here we've got Crypt Raiders. Crypt Raiders do a battle shout, they enrage, and they do a soul strike, which inflicts 220% weapon damage and leaves the target wounded. So we know these ones would potentially need extra healing because they're going to do a mortal strike effect. The boss, so if we look at the boss, now this is where it gets quite interesting, because obviously on a boss, if you know all of its abilities between you and your party, let's say you've never done this before, and I know that all of this information on boss fights and guides, it's all readily available. Some of it's right here on this channel, obviously, even though I've not done that many dungeon guides because I don't think anyone really looks at them, they just go in blind. But if we look at Pandemonius, he does Dark Shell, so reflects all melee attacks and spells as shadow damage, and he does an Avoid Blast, which is shadow damage and knockback. So straight away, just knowing that, without ever having tried this boss before, you know when you see Dark Shell, you're going to have to stop attacking. You know, and I mean, that's really useful. If you're new to the game and you could have a real quick look at what these mobs or these NPCs or these bosses, whatever you want to call them, if you just have a real quick look just at what they do top level, you'll know, oh, this one does a periodic silence, or this one reflects abilities, or, you know, whatever it might do. This might not be perfect. There may be bits missing, like I said at the start. You know, obviously this is being updated regularly, by the way. I mean, since I've had it, it's been updated, and I've not had it long. So it's, you know, it's really useful, but you can see how, you know, the majority of the focus on this, I would say, has gone into raids. So you can go into a raid and know they're 100% correct. But obviously in dungeons there might be the odd mob that's got things missing. I know the Menders that's got the spell stealable 300 or 295 spell power, for example, from Botanica. I believe just from scanning the comments that was missing. But again, the developer will add it. So it's going to grow over time, but you can see that this is an absolutely amazing foundation for a really, really useful weak aura. So that's that out of the way. Now the next add-on is really quick and easy, and I mentioned this in, I think I've done a video if you're interested about my UI and how it's set up and everything like that. I'll put a card up the top and I'll put a link in the description. So a lot of you ask, you know, how do you get your bars looking like that? Where are your bars? Where, you know, where are your keybinds? How do you know what you're pressing? All that sort of thing. Well, I've done a whole breakdown of my UI and how it's set up and what hardware I use and all of that. As I say, link in the description below, feel free to go check it out. But Spellbind, which I've found, is really good. So if you're one of those people who's played your class for years, maybe you've played it on private servers for years, well, sorry, servers we don't talk about, but maybe you've played it like that, so you know, you just don't need bars. You don't need to see anything. You know 1 is heroic strike, you know 2 is, I don't know, hamstring, you know where everything is that you don't really need to see it. Maybe all you need to see is cooldowns. So that's how mine's set up, where the only time I see an ability on my screen is when it's on cooldown, because I don't want to know when I can use it, I want to know that I can't use it, if that makes sense. So this add-on basically means that you can just turn all of your bars off. You don't need to worry about where they are, as in where each ability is it in the right keybind slot, all of that. Forget that. Spellbind, you open the panel and you literally drag all your abilities, all your macros, potions, absolutely everything. Anything that you want to use, you drag into the Spellbind add-on and then you keybind it in there. So let's jump in game and I'll show you what I mean. Alright, so Spellbinder next. Now Spellbinder for me is extremely useful, mainly because when you look at my UI, you can't see any bars. I don't use any bars. I use Bartender purely, if I show you, so I use Bartender in the background just for my keybinds, and then I hide all of the bars. So if we go to bar 1 and then we go to visibility, it's just always hidden, but it is there running in the background. But Spellbinder, what you can actually do, and the reason this is good is because you could use Bartender just to disable all your bars if you wanted, or move anything. There's plenty of add-ons where you can completely strip away your bars. But when you've got Spellbinder, if you type /SB, you'll get this window open. So now, all you do is, well, it says drag a spell, item or macro here to bind it. So you could literally go, right, okay, let's say I'm a feral, I'm a feral DPS. I want challenging roar in there. I want, I'm not going to use claw, am I? I want cat form. I want bear form. I want demo roar, enrage, fairy fire. You know, you just drag all of your abilities into here. Growl, but then you could also open your bags and you could stick in elixir of demon slaying, maybe even an item, you know, that you want to swap around. Maybe a weapon would make sense, you know, so you can maybe keybind to swap between Earth Warden and Illhoof Staff or whatever. You get the picture. You can do the same with macros, so you can open all your macros and just drag any macros in you want. And then all you literally do is then just click on each of these abilities and bind it. So if I was to click Growl, so press a keybind, spell, growl, current key, unbound. So I could I'll just bind it just for now. So overrides action button 12. It's telling me that this is going to override action button 12. So I don't want to do it because obviously all mine are set up in the background. I'm going to set Spellbinder up when I'm not actually doing a video. I'll do it at my own pace because it could take a while, you know, to get everything right because of using the stream deck and everything as well. So I'll cancel that. But you can see, so then you just literally bind everything in here. You can go to binding sets, you can have them global, you can activate a different character, so you could obviously you can have a different set of binds for each individual character, and if you was to then start an ult of the same character, you've not even got to do anything. You know, you can literally just activate that set. So let's say I wanted to start another druid for farming, for example. I can just activate that set. I never need to worry about when I learn abilities or putting them in the bar because all the binds will already be set up. So as I learn new abilities, instantly they're already keybound to what I want them to do. So it just saves a bit of time as well. But overall, I was really impressed with Spellbind, and it's definitely something I'm going to use, I'm going to set up. I'm going to set it up on multiple characters. It's now just finding the time to actually sit there and do it. It was quite a short one for these two. I mean, there was more that I wanted to add in, but I mean, I didn't want to make it too long because I think like the Lexicon week aura needed to be spoke about in a little bit of detail, some good examples, and Spellbind as well is absolutely an amazing add-on if you don't physically need bars. So if you did find anything in this video useful, obviously please like, subscribe. If you go onto my main channel and check below, you'll see my other channels that I'm slowly growing. So I've got a tech channel now as well, obviously Safe Sounds for copyright-free music, and then SJ Gaming Live, where you get clips and sort of just cuts of my live streams and different bits that, I don't know, we think might be useful or might be funny. But that's primarily going to be a lot of shorts coming on there. So again, thanks for watching guys, peace out, like, subscribe, roll the outro.
Just wanted to take this moment just to say thank you to all those guys up there that have joined the channel as a member, so that's as a supporter or as a legendary supporter. It really does help the channel just continue growing, keep me in this seat, pumping out TBC content, Ashes of Creation soon, and obviously whatever else comes up between now and then. Also, if you want to give me some extra support, then check out my second channel, Safe Sounds, which is DMCA free, copyright free music for content creators, so be that Twitch streamers, TikTok creators, YouTube content creators, anything, anywhere you need background music, copyright free lo-fi, drill, R&B, hip hop, you name it, it's going to be on there. So if you want to check that out, links in the description below. Please go over and subscribe, it really helps out. And thank you again, all you guys up there and everybody that subscribes to the channel. Peace out.